Welcome, dear dreamer. Before sleep finds you tonight, let's take a quiet walk together through the soft, dew-kissed fields of the Shire, just as the first light of morning brushes the hills. This is a place where the world moves gently, where the scent of earth and grass lingers in the air and chimney smoke curls lazily into a waking sky. Inspired by Tolkien's love for the English countryside, the Shire hums with the comfort of small things: fresh bread, warm tea, familiar paths, and kind voices. Take a breath. Feel the hush of dawn around you. Can you hear the soft rustle of leaves, a distant kettle beginning to boil, the low murmur of a waking village? There's no rush here, just steady footsteps and the promise of peace. So, tuck yourself in. Let the quiet charm of this world wrap around you, and together we'll wander gently toward rest. A morning walk through the Shire begins in the quiet, open fields. Mist lingers in thin sheets across the rolling green hills, softening the world as the first light of day stretches over Hobbiton. The sky glows with gentle streaks of gold and pink, and the air is cool and fresh, carrying the scent of damp grass and rich earth. Somewhere nearby, the Brandywine River drifts slowly through the valley, its waters catching the early light. Birds in the hedgerows offer a few tentative notes, their songs blending with the soft sounds of the waking land. Every detail feels calm and unhurried, as if the world is content to remain in this peaceful moment just a little longer. The Shire's landscape is shaped by these quiet mornings. Paths wind between hills and gardens, bordered by tall hedges and wildflowers. The earth underfoot is soft, and the air is touched by the sweetness of blooming clover. You might spot a hobbit or two out early, waving as they pass, a wheelbarrow full of fresh vegetables or jars of honey in tow. Their steps are slow and sure, grounded in a steady routine that has shaped their days for generations. Here, life moves at its own gentle pace, shaped by the land and the changing seasons. Inside one of the round-doored homes, the first stirrings of the day begin. The creak of a wooden door, the soft shuffle of feet on stone, and the faint clatter of crockery echo through the early stillness. A hobbit moves about the kitchen, preparing breakfast. The aroma of fresh bread drifts through the air, warm and yeasty, mingling with the faint, sweet tang of blackberry jam. There's a hint of pipeweed, too, coming from a farmer leaning against a fence, enjoying a quiet moment before the day's work begins. But what happens when this calm world faces a stranger's unexpected knock? The Shire's sense of safety and routine is strong, but every so often, something or someone from beyond its borders arrives, carrying the hint of stories yet untold. This gentle tension between the familiar and the unknown is part of what makes the Shire feel so real and alive. The simplicity of these routines stands out even more when you think about life outside the Shire. In the modern world, mornings are often filled with alarms, traffic, and hurried breakfasts. Here, there's time to notice the way the sun hits the roof of a hobbit hole, or the way dew sparkles on the grass. The hobbit's world is shaped by habits that bring comfort: a slow breakfast, a stroll through the garden, a friendly chat with a neighbor. These are the rituals that anchor them, giving each day a sense of balance and belonging. Tolkien's love for the English countryside is woven into every part of the Shire. He spent his childhood exploring the fields and woods near Sarehole, and he often wandered through Moseley Bog near Birmingham. That landscape lives on in these quiet woods and gentle streams. The Shire is not just a fantasy, it's a memory of real places transformed into something timeless. The tall hedgerows, the winding lanes, and the careful order of gardens all reflect the rural England Tolkien knew and cherished. As you walk along the dirt paths, you notice how closely the hobbits are tied to the land. Their hands are used to turning soil and tending plants, their lives marked by the rhythm of planting, growing, and harvesting. The gardens are tidy but never fussy, full of vegetables, flowers, and fruit trees. Every patch of earth has a purpose, and every season brings its own work and rewards. The connection to nature is quiet but deep, a source of peace that runs through every part of their lives. Even the sounds of the Shire are gentle and familiar. The rustle of leaves in the hedges mixes with the soft clink of milk pails and the distant laughter of children. The breeze carries the scent of tilled earth and fresh-cut grass. These details are small, but they create a sense of place that feels safe and welcoming. The Shire is not just a setting, it's a character, shaped by the people who live there and the routines they follow. Hobbits move through their days with a kind of quiet contentment. Each task, no matter how simple, is done with care. Watering the garden, patching a waistcoat, or setting out an extra chair for a visitor. These acts are not rushed. The repetition of daily chores builds a steady rhythm, like the ticking of a well-loved clock. This rhythm is part of what makes the Shire so comforting. It's a reminder that peace can be found in small, everyday moments. Market days in Hobbiton are a good example of this balance. Early in the morning, stall owners set out baskets of apples, rounds of cheese, and pots of honey. Neighbors stop to chat, sharing news and stories before the day gets busy. There's no hurry, no pressure to finish quickly. Everything unfolds in its own time. Even Frodo, who often found himself caught up in adventures, paused to notice these details. The way sunlight fell on a table, the sound of laughter drifting across the square. Tolkien's memories of Sarehole and Moseley Bog shaped the Shire's sense of place. He wrote about the comfort he found in these landscapes, and that feeling carries through in his descriptions of Hobbiton and its surroundings. The woods and fields are not just beautiful, they are familiar, full of the quiet joys of home. This connection to real places makes the Shire feel solid and believable, a place you can almost step into. As the morning goes on, the Shire slowly comes to life. Doors open, voices rise, and the smell of breakfast drifts through the air. The gentle clatter of pots and pans, the sound of water splashing in a basin, and the soft thud of boots on packed earth all blend together. Each small moment is part of a larger pattern, a tapestry of connection and care. The Hobbits' routines are not grand or dramatic, but they bring a sense of order and peace that is hard to find elsewhere. The heart of the Shire is in these quiet mornings. There's a lesson here about finding comfort in what's familiar, in the routines that shape our days. The Hobbit's way of life is not about seeking excitement or chasing after new things. It's about being present, listening to the birds, noticing the way the light changes, sharing a meal with a friend. These are the things that make the Shire feel like home. As you walk through the fields and lanes, you might start to notice how much calm comes from simply being part of this world. The Hobbit's connection to the land, their care for each other, and their gentle routines all work together to create a sense of peace. It's a kind of comfort that feels both old and new, familiar but always fresh. This morning walk draws you into the heart of hobbit life. You see how every habit and ritual, no matter how small, helps build a world that is both safe and welcoming. The Shire's quiet strength lies in its simplicity, in the way it holds on to the things that matter most. And as the day begins in earnest, you might wonder about the joys that fill the rest of a hobbit's day. The simple pleasures that start with breakfast and unfold from there, grounding each moment in a sense of ease and belonging. In the heart of Hobbiton, daily life unfolds in a gentle rhythm, shaped by the small joys that hobbits hold dear. The simple pleasures of hobbit life begin with breakfast. For hobbits, breakfast is never rushed. Picture a round wooden table, morning light filtering through a window, and the comfort of a single thick slice of buttered toast, warm and golden, with a spoonful of blackberry jam. The taste is sweet and familiar, the kind of flavor that invites you to slow down and notice each bite. This isn't just sustenance, it's a moment to savor, a quiet ritual that grounds the day. Hobbits are known for enjoying multiple meals, each one a pause to appreciate what's on the table and who is sharing it. Studies show that savoring simple acts, like brewing tea or shaping dough, improves calm, much as hobbits do every morning. After breakfast, the garden calls. Hobbits step outside, drawn to the rows of herbs and vegetables that border their homes. The garden is a place of quiet work, pulling a weed, checking on ripening tomatoes, or gathering a handful of fresh mint for later. There's satisfaction in feeling the soil, in watching how each plant changes with the season. The work is steady and unhurried, bringing a sense of purpose and peace. The scent of earth lingers on your hands, and the gentle buzz of bees moves through the air. For hobbits, tending the garden is not a chore, but a source of contentment, a way to stay connected to the land that supports them. As the day stretches on, a pipe smoke break might follow. It's common to see a hobbit resting under a tree or by a garden wall, pipe in hand, watching the clouds drift by. The smell of pipeweed is soft and grassy, mixing with the scents of flowers and damp earth. This is a quiet moment, a chance to pause and simply be. Sometimes a neighbor passes, and they share a word or two, maybe a joke or a bit of news. These small interactions are gentle and easy, woven into the fabric of daily life. Community is at the center of everything in the Shire. Neighborly visits are frequent, and hospitality is second nature to hobbits. If a friend drops by, there's always a cup of tea or a slice of cake ready. These visits are simple, but they fill the day with warmth. Evenings often bring small gatherings around a fire, with stories, laughter, and the comfort of familiar faces. Sometimes, the whole community comes together for a celebration. Bilbo's birthday is a famous example. Tables piled high with pies, apple turnovers, honeyed scones, and raspberry tarts. The laughter, the music, and the shared food create a feeling of belonging that lingers long after the party ends. The marketplace is another place where simple pleasures thrive. It's busy, but never frantic. Stalls line the square, offering fresh bread, jams, and pastries. The air is filled with the sound of friendly haggling and the chatter of neighbors catching up. No one is in a rush. Instead, hobbits linger, sampling a tart or swapping stories. The market is more than a place to buy food. It's where the community gathers, where news is shared, and friendships are renewed. Here, the pleasure of good food is always tied to the joy of sharing it. Hobbits find comfort in their routines. The steady pattern of meals, gardening, and visits creates a sense of order. There's always time for a midday snack or a stroll down a winding lane. The pace is slow, and there's space to notice the small things. The way sunlight falls on a patch of clover, the sound of a distant river, the laughter of children at play. These details may seem small, but they are the heart of hobbit life. They offer a kind of stability that is rare in a world that often feels busy or uncertain. The Shire's celebrations are simple but full of life. Whether it's a birthday, a harvest, or just a sunny afternoon, hobbits gather to share food and laughter. The act of coming together is what matters most. There is no need for grand gestures. A shared meal, a song, a friendly game, these are enough to bring joy. The fields fill with music, the scents of roasting meats and fresh bread drift on the breeze, and everyone feels included. These gatherings strengthen the bonds of community and create memories that last. Nature is always close in the Shire. Hobbit homes blend into the hills, and gardens grow right up to the doorways. Fields of wheat and barley stretch beyond the village, and wildflowers bloom along the paths. The land is not just a backdrop, it's part of every day. Hobbits know the seasons well. They watch for the first signs of spring, the ripening of fruit, the turning of leaves. There's a quiet pride in growing food, in sharing the harvest, in caring for the earth. This connection brings a sense of calm, a reminder that life moves in cycles and that each season has its gifts. Hobbits also find pleasure in simple stories and small adventures. Not every tale is grand or dramatic. Sometimes the best stories are about a lost button found in the grass or a picnic by the river. Writing these stories down or sharing them over a meal keeps the memories alive. It's a way of honoring the ordinary moments that make life meaningful. In the Shire, there's no rush to reach the next big thing. The joy is in the journey, in the steady rhythm of days spent well. The simplicity of hobbit life is not about doing less, but about doing what matters with care. Each meal, each task, each visit is a chance to be present. There's no need to hurry, no sense of missing out. The hobbit's way of life is a gentle reminder that happiness can be found in the smallest things: a warm slice of bread, a shared laugh, the feeling of grass under your feet. As you imagine these moments, you might notice how your own breath slows, how your thoughts settle. The routines of the Shire offer a kind of peace that feels both old and new. It's a way of living that values connection, care, and the quiet beauty of everyday life. The comfort of hobbit life isn't just found in their homes or their meals, but in the way they move through the world. There's a steadiness in their habits, a kindness in their greetings, and a respect for the land and each other. These are the things that make the Shire feel like home. As the day in the Shire goes on, the sun shifts and the shadows grow longer. The fields and gardens hold their own kind of quiet, and the gentle routines continue. Yet beyond the familiar paths and tidy lanes, there are places in Middle-earth that hold mysteries of their own. Places where the world feels older, and the trees seem to carry their own stories. Among the borders of hobbit lands, The old forest stands apart. Its reputation as mysterious and unsettling is well earned. The trees here are not just part of the scenery. They seem to possess a quiet awareness, watching with a patience that makes even the bravest hobbit uneasy. Tolkien describes the old forest's trees as seeming to lean and whisper, a poetic hint of ancient woodlands like Moseley Bog. Their branches knit tightly above, forming a canopy that shuts out much of the daylight, leaving the ground below in a dim green haze. The path beneath your feet twists and turns, roots rising in unexpected places, and the air feels thick and heavy, carrying a scent that speaks of long years and slow decay. For those used to the Shire's open fields and gentle order, the old forest is a place where those comforts fall away. The familiar boundaries marked by hedgerows and neat gardens have no meaning here. Instead, the land stretches out in all directions, tangled and wild, its silence broken only by the soft, persistent whisper that seems to pass from tree to tree. It's not the cheerful rustling of leaves you might hear on a breezy afternoon in Hobbiton. This sound feels purposeful, as if the forest itself is communicating, sometimes warning, sometimes luring, always testing whether you belong. The trees in the old forest have a spirit that sets them apart from other woods. If you pause and listen, you might sense their presence, a kind of ancient memory that lingers in the air. Tolkien suggests that for those patient enough, the forest will teach its songs. These are not melodies you can hum or repeat. They are slow, deep rhythms, woven into the creak of branches and the hush of moss beneath your feet. To hear them, you have to slow down, matching your breath to the quiet pulse of the forest. The whispering grows bolder when strangers enter, as if the forest is deciding whether to let you pass or to close in tighter around you. It's easy to see why hobbits rarely venture here. In the Shire, life is shaped by routines and gentle patterns, but in the old forest, the rules are different. The trees seem to move of their own accord, sometimes shifting to block a path or tangle the way forward. There's a sense that the forest is alive in a way that goes beyond roots and leaves. Tolkien's writing hints at trees that remember old wounds, that hold grudges, and that stand ready to defend their home against any who might bring harm. This isn't a place for rushing or distraction. Every step asks for your full attention. The feeling of being watched is hard to shake. The trees seem to lean in, their trunks thick and gnarled, their bark marked by scars from storms and seasons long past. The air, heavy with the scent of old leaves and damp earth, presses close. Sometimes a faint breeze stirs, and the whisper grows louder, circling around you like a question waiting for an answer. It's not a sound that brings comfort. Instead, it makes you aware of how small you are, how much the forest has seen and survived. Tolkien's inspiration for the old forest came from his own childhood walks in places like Moseley Bog, where tangled roots and shadowed paths sparked his imagination. But he also drew from older stories, tales where forests were not just settings, but living forces, full of wisdom and warning. In these stories, nature could be friend or foe, sheltering those who respected it and turning against those who did not. That sense of duality lives in the old forest, where beauty and danger are woven together. The old forest is not only a place of unease. For those willing to be still, there is a kind of ancient wisdom here. The trees carry their own history, and if you listen long enough, you might catch the edge of a story not meant for hurried travelers. Tolkien describes moments when the whispering seems to grow bold, pressing in on those who enter, testing their resolve. The forest is not evil, but it is fiercely protective, and careless visitors may find themselves lost or turned around, the way home hidden by twisting branches. Tom Bombadil, a figure as old as the forest itself, moves through these woods with ease. His songs are different from the whispering of the trees. When he sings, the forest comes alive in a new way. Branches seem to sway in time, shadows lift, and the air feels lighter. Bombadil's presence shows that the old forest responds to those who approach it with respect and openness. His songs remind us that deep listening can change how we experience even the most mysterious places. The old forest's power lies in its ability to unsettle and to invite reflection. It asks you to notice things you might otherwise ignore. The way roots twist underfoot, the pattern of light and shadow on the ground, the slow, steady rhythm of growing things. For the hobbits who prefer the safety of their own gardens, this is a world best left alone. But for those who linger, the forest offers a different kind of peace. A quiet that asks for patience, a reminder that not all mysteries need to be solved. There are stories of travelers who wandered too far, caught by the forest's shifting paths and the boldness of its whisper. The old forest can test your sense of direction, your patience, and even your courage. Sometimes the trees seem to close ranks, their branches weaving together so tightly that no light can get through. In these moments, the forest feels less like a place and more like a presence, waiting to see how you will respond. Yet, even in its most shadowed corners, the old forest holds moments of beauty. A patch of sunlight might slip through the leaves, lighting up a bed of moss or the delicate petals of a hidden flower. The air, though heavy, sometimes carries a hint of sweetness, a reminder that life continues even in the oldest, darkest places. The forest is not just a place of warning, it is also a place of renewal, where the cycles of growth and decay play out in slow, steady rhythms. The contrast between the Shire and the old forest is clear. In the Shire, nature is shaped and tended, every hedge and path placed with care. In the old forest, nature shapes itself, indifferent to the plans of those who pass through. The difference is more than just appearance. It is a difference in feeling, in the way each place asks you to move and to listen. For the hobbits, the old forest remains a boundary, a reminder that not all of Middle-earth can be tamed or understood. But for the careful listener, the forest offers lessons in patience and respect. Its whispering trees teach that not every question has an answer, and that sometimes the best way to learn is simply to be present and attentive. As you return in your mind to the edges of the Shire, leaving the old forest behind, you might notice how the memory of those whispers lingers. There's a quiet in the air that feels different from the hush of the woods, a gentle calm, shaped by the sounds of home. In the next moments, let yourself settle into that familiar comfort where the world feels safe and the day begins anew. Now, let your mind settle on the gentle sounds that define the Shire. The comfort of the Shire's sounds is woven from a tapestry of small, familiar noises. Birds greeting the morning with light, playful notes, the distant hum of hobbits sharing laughter as they tend their gardens, and the steady clink of tools meeting earth. All of these blend into a single peaceful scene. The air is calm, the rhythm is slow, and nothing feels out of place. These sounds do not compete or demand your attention. Instead, they gather quietly around you, offering reassurance and belonging. The Shire's soundscape feels intentional, as though each note has found its perfect place. Listen for the soft rustle of leaves as a breeze moves through the hedges, or the low buzz of bees drifting from bloom to bloom. These gentle layers create a background that soothes without intruding. As evening draws in, crickets begin their chorus, their steady rhythm carrying you into the stillness of night. Each sound and the silence between works together to calm the mind and invite you to rest. Natural sounds like these do more than fill the air. They shape how you feel. Biologists confirm that listening to the slow trickle of water or bird song can lower heart rate and ease tension. Imagine walking by a small stream at the edge of Hobbiton, the water flowing softly beside your steps. The sound is steady and reassuring, giving your mind a place to settle. In the Shire, these moments come often, and each one is a gentle reminder to slow down and notice what's around you. In the heart of Hobbiton, the marketplace brings its own music. There's the up and down of friendly chatter, neighbors greeting one another, the clink of coins, and the shuffle of feet as goods change hands. It's not silent, but it's never harsh. This is the sound of community, where every voice fits into the whole. Even laughter, bright and easy, seems to drift without ever overpowering the peace. There's a balance here, a sense that activity and quiet can exist side by side. Modern life blasts us with car horns and notifications. The Shire's sounds float gently, calling us back to ease. In cities and busy homes, noise is often relentless. Machines, alarms, and the constant buzz of screens. In contrast, the Shire's world is free from these sharp interruptions. The absence of urgency is as soothing as the presence of bird song and soft voices. It's a place where you can let your guard down, breathe deeply, and feel safe. The Hobbit's way of life is reflected in these sounds. Their routines are steady, and their connection to the land runs deep. Every sound, from the swish of a broom on a stone floor to the bubbling of soup in a pot, comes from a life lived close to nature and to each other. These are the sounds of comfort, simple, familiar, and full of meaning. They remind you that peace can be found in the smallest moments. As the day shifts toward evening, the Shire grows quieter. The lively sounds of work and play fade, replaced by the gentle crackle of a fire in a hearth, the soft murmur of voices winding down, and the distant call of an owl. In these moments, the soundscape invites reflection. You might notice your own breath slowing, your thoughts growing softer. The world feels smaller, safer, and more welcoming. The research tells us that places like the Shire, with their natural soundscapes, can offer real relief from stress and anxiety. When you listen to these gentle noises, your mind and body respond. Heart rate slow, muscles relax, and a sense of calm settles in. It's a kind of therapy, simple but powerful. The hobbits may not think about it in these terms, but their world is shaped by the sounds that make them feel at home. If you sit quietly on a hill in the Shire, you'll hear more than just birds or the wind. You'll hear the life of the community, a wheelbarrow creaking along a path, the bubbling of a kettle, the faint laughter of children playing nearby. Each sound is a thread in the fabric of daily life. Together, they create an atmosphere that is calm and reassuring, where nothing feels rushed or out of place. The comfort of the Shire's sounds comes from their gentle repetition. Each day brings the same rhythms: morning bird song, midday conversation, evening crickets. These patterns are grounding, offering a sense of order and predictability. For the hobbits, and for anyone who listens, this repetition is a source of comfort. It's a reminder that life moves in cycles and that there is safety in routine. Sometimes, the most powerful moments are the quietest. When the world around you grows still and all you hear is the soft rustle of grass or the distant call of a night bird, you can feel the peace of the Shire settle over you. These are the moments that linger, the ones that remind you of the value of slowing down and letting the world come to you. The Shire's sounds are not only a comfort, but also a gentle invitation. They ask you to pause, to listen, and to notice the small beauties that fill each day. In this way, the soundscape becomes a kind of guide, leading you into a state of relaxation and rest. The hobbit's connection to their world is echoed in every note, every pause, every gentle rhythm. You might find yourself wishing for a bit of the Shire's peace in your own life. Maybe it's the memory of a quiet morning, the sound of rain on leaves, or the laughter of friends nearby. These are the sounds that create a sense of home wherever you are. They offer a reminder that comfort is often found not in grand gestures, but in the gentle repetition of daily life. As you listen to the Shire's sounds, you might notice how your own worries begin to fade. The world feels a little softer, a little kinder. The gentle noises of this place invite you to rest, to let go, and to simply be. It's a kind of sanctuary, built not from walls or fences, but from the simple music of daily life. Let yourself rest in this soundscape for a while. Notice the way each noise blends into the next: the birds, the laughter, the quiet hum of evening. Each one is a promise of safety and belonging, a gentle reminder that you are part of something steady and good. What old sound might you welcome in your own world tonight? As you reflect on the comfort of these sounds, your thoughts may begin to wander to the landscape that shapes them: the rolling hills, the winding rivers, and the quiet beauty that stretches beyond the Shire's borders. Let's turn your attention to the land itself. Soft hills that rise and fall in gentle waves, and the steady winding flow of the Brandywine River. These features shape not only the Shire, but the very heart of Middle-earth's most beloved region. The hills do not tower or threaten. Instead, they curve smoothly under a wide sky, each slope covered in green, dotted with wildflowers and patches of clover. Paths wind between them, following the land's natural rhythm. The Brandywine, broad and calm, moves at its own pace. Its waters reflect the sky and the nearby trees, bringing a quiet sense of movement to the landscape. Together, these hills and rivers create a place where everything feels balanced and unhurried. This geography is not accidental. Tolkien placed the Shire with care, positioning it roughly where Oxford sits on our maps. He wanted it to feel familiar, a place that anyone could imagine walking through on a clear morning. The gentle hills and the slow rivers are not just beautiful, they are comforting. They offer a sense of home, a place where you can breathe deeply and let your worries settle. The land feels lived in, shaped by generations of quiet work and gentle care. When you picture a morning in the Shire, it's easy to see how the land and the people belong together. Hobbit holes are tucked into hillsides, their round doors blending into the earth. Gardens spill out from each home, bordered by low fences and neat rows of vegetables. The hills provide shelter from wind and storm, while the rivers bring water for gardens and fields. The Brandywine is more than just a boundary. It's a gathering place, a source of life, and a quiet companion to the hobbit's daily routines. The landscape shapes every part of life here. Fields stretch out in soft, irregular shapes, following the natural rise and fall of the hills. Sheep graze in small groups, their movements slow and peaceful. Dirt paths wind between villages, sometimes following the edge of a river, sometimes climbing gently to the top of a hill. Along the banks of the Brandywine, willows dip their branches into the water, and the air is cool and fresh. These details create a sense of order without harsh lines or sharp edges. Everything fits together in a way that feels natural and easy. Tolkien's choice to anchor the Shire in a place like Oxford gives it a grounding that reaches beyond fantasy. The hills and rivers are not exaggerated or wild. They are familiar, echoing the countryside that Tolkien knew as a child. This connection to real places helps the Shire feel solid and believable. It's not just a setting for stories. It's a place where you can imagine living, working, and resting. The landscape supports the hobbits' way of life, shaping their habits, values, and sense of belonging. The Brandywine River, in particular, stands out as a symbol of calm and continuity. It moves slowly, never rushing, always present in the background of hobbit life. Its waters feed the fields and gardens, support the mills, and offer a place for quiet reflection. Sitting by the river, you might hear the soft trickle of water over stones, the distant call of a bird, or the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. The sound is steady and reassuring, a reminder that life here moves at its own pace. The hills, too, play their part in creating this sense of peace. They shield the villages from harsh weather, provide space for gardens and orchards, and offer quiet places to rest. Walking along a hilltop path, you can see the patchwork of fields below, the slow curve of the river, and the small clusters of homes nestled into the land. The view is wide and open, but never empty. There is always something growing, moving, or changing, but the changes come slowly, shaped by the seasons and the steady hands of those who care for the land. In the Shire, the geography is more than just a backdrop. It's a living part of daily life. The hills and rivers invite you to slow down, to notice the small details, and to find comfort in routine. There is no rush to reach the end of a path. The journey itself is enough. The land asks for patience and rewards it with moments of quiet beauty. A patch of sunlight on the grass, the reflection of clouds in the water, the gentle curve of a hill against the sky. This natural balance stands in quiet contrast to the world outside. Where cities press in with noise and hard edges, the Shire opens outward, giving space for breath and thought. The hills and rivers do not demand attention, they offer it freely, inviting you to rest and feel at ease. The simplicity of the landscape is its strength. It supports a way of living that values connection, care, and presence. Tolkien's maps of Middle-earth show how important geography is to every story. The Shire sits in the northwest, surrounded by lands that are wilder and less settled. Beyond its borders, forests grow dense and dark, mountains rise sharply, and rivers become swift and dangerous. Each region has its own character, shaped by the land itself. But within the Shire, The hills and rivers create a haven, a place where peace is possible and where daily life can unfold in gentle, familiar rhythms. Even when you look beyond the Shire, you see how geography shapes the lives of all who live in Middle-earth. In Rohan, wide plains stretch beneath open skies, shaping a culture of riders and herdsmen. In Gondor, rivers and mountains create natural defenses and boundaries. In the deep forests, the land is mysterious and ancient, holding secrets and stories of its own. Each place is different, but all are connected by the land that supports them. For hobbits, though, it is the soft hills and slow rivers that matter most. These features are woven into every part of their lives. From the food they grow to the homes they build, from the paths they walk to the stories they tell. The land is a source of comfort and strength, a reminder that peace can be found in the simplest of places. The hills and rivers do not change quickly or dramatically. Their steady presence offers a sense of security, a foundation for daily life. As you imagine yourself in this landscape, notice how it encourages you to let go of hurry and worry. The hills invite you to rest, to sit quietly and watch the world move at its own pace. The river asks you to listen, to follow its gentle flow, and to find calm in the steady sound of water. These are small things, but they matter. They shape the way you feel, the way you think, and the way you move through the world. The Shire's geography is a quiet teacher. It shows that comfort and belonging can grow from the land itself, from the way hills curve and rivers wind. It reminds you that peace is not always found in grand gestures or distant places, but in the gentle patterns of home. The landscape holds you, supports you, and gives you space to be yourself. In this peaceful setting, you might begin to wonder about the people who live here, how their lives are shaped by the land, and what quiet strengths they carry within. The hills and rivers nurture more than gardens and fields. They nurture the hearts and spirits of those who call this place home. There is more to the Shire than meets the eye, and sometimes the greatest strengths are found in the most unassuming places. Beneath the gentle routines of Shire life, a different kind of strength quietly shapes each day. The hidden depths of hobbit courage reveal themselves only when circumstances demand it, often surprising outsiders and even the hobbits themselves. This courage isn't loud or showy, but it runs deep, rooted in the values of loyalty, community, and a sincere love for home. It's a quality that emerges in unexpected ways, especially when the familiar peace of the Shire is threatened, or when a hobbit is called beyond its borders. Bilbo Baggins offers one of the clearest glimpses of this hidden strength. At first, he is content with his quiet life and resists anything that might disturb his comfort. Yet when faced with the dragon Smaug, Bilbo's courage surfaces. Alone in the dragon's lair, he stands before Smaug, not with sword or shield, but with careful words and steady resolve. In this moment, Bilbo's bravery grows from necessity and a sense of duty to his companions. His actions are not about seeking glory. They are a response to what is needed, showing how hobbit courage often appears without warning, shaped by the situation and a quiet sense of responsibility. This same kind of courage can be seen in Frodo and Sam, though it takes different forms. Frodo accepts the burden of the ring, knowing the dangers it brings. His perseverance, His ability to keep moving forward despite fear and pain reflects a steady, enduring bravery. But it's Samwise Gamgee who truly embodies the Shire's spirit of courage in action. When Frodo falters under the weight of the ring, Sam doesn't hesitate. He lifts Frodo and carries him up the slopes of Mount Doom, refusing to leave him behind. Sam's courage is practical and unwavering, grounded in friendship and a promise to never give up. He faces dangers like Shelob, the giant spider, not because he seeks adventure, but because he cannot imagine leaving his friend alone. Through Sam, you see that courage is often found in the willingness to support someone else, even when you feel afraid or uncertain yourself. Hobbit bravery is not limited to those who leave the Shire. There are stories within Shire history that show this strength at home. The Battle of Greenfield stands as an early example. Bendobra's Took, known as the Bull Roarer, met an invading band of orcs with nothing but resolve and a wooden club. In one swift act, he defeated the orc chieftain Gulfimble, turning the tide and protecting his people. This victory became a part of Shire legend, not just as a tale of triumph, but as a reminder that courage can rise up in anyone, even in the most peaceful of places. Another powerful moment comes with the scouring of the Shire. When the hobbits returned home and found their land changed by outside forces, they did not shrink away. Instead, they organized, stood together, and reclaimed their home. This was not a battle for conquest or power, but a defense of their way of life. The courage shown here was quiet but firm, neighbors working side by side, guided by a shared sense of what mattered most. This event, though smaller than the great wars of Middle-earth, stands out because it shows how hobbits will rise when their peace is threatened. Their bravery is not about seeking adventure, it's about protecting the world they love. Throughout these stories, you notice a pattern. Hobbit courage is rarely about bold declarations or grand gestures. Instead, it's about persistence, care, and a willingness to do what's needed, even when it's hard. The outside world often underestimates hobbits, seeing only their love of comfort and routine. But when tested, they draw strength from the very things that make their lives gentle: their friendships, their routines, and their deep connection to home. The Shire itself plays a role in nurturing this courage. The sense of belonging, the steady rhythm of daily life, and the support of neighbors all build a foundation that allows hobbits to face uncertainty with calm determination. Their bravery is not born from a desire for adventure, but from a wish to preserve the peace and goodness of their world. It's a kind of strength that grows quietly, rooted in the soil of their gardens and the laughter around their tables. You might find something reassuring in this approach to courage. It suggests that bravery is not a rare quality reserved for heroes, but something that can grow in anyone. It can begin with small acts of care, tending a garden, helping a friend, or standing up for what feels right. These daily routines, though simple, build a quiet resilience that becomes clear only when life brings challenges. The hobbits show that you don't need to seek out danger to be brave. Sometimes it's enough to hold fast to what matters and to support those around you. The stories of Bilbo, Frodo, Sam, and the hobbits of the Shire offer a gentle lesson. True courage does not always look like what you expect. It might appear in a moment of quiet resolve, a steady hand offered to a friend, or the decision to protect what you love. This kind of bravery is steady, practical, and deeply human. It reminds you that even in the calmest lives, there is a strength waiting to rise when needed. As you reflect on these stories, you might notice how the hobbits' courage is shaped by their connection to their land and each other. Their resilience grows from the routines and comforts that fill their days. When change or challenge arrives, they meet it not with bravado, but with determination and care. Their example is a reminder that courage can be quiet, and that strength often grows from the simplest acts of love and loyalty. In Middle-earth, courage takes many forms, and each people draws on different sources of strength. The Hobbit's way is grounded and practical, shaped by everyday life and the bonds of community. Their hidden depths remind you that there is power in gentleness, and that even the smallest person can change the course of the future. There are other kinds of wisdom and strength in Middle-earth, too. Some are ancient, shaped by long years and a deep connection to the world's mysteries. As you let the thought of hobbit courage settle, you may find yourself curious about those who have watched the world change across ages, those whose lives are woven with magic, memory, and a quiet understanding of time. The elves carry a kind of wisdom that feels quiet and enduring, shaped by lifetimes spent close to the heart of Middle-earth. Their perspective is unlike any other. They are the firstborn of Iluvatar, the first to walk under the stars, and their lives stretch far beyond the reach of any mortal year. This long view gives them a sense of patience and calm that settles into everything they do, from the way they speak to the way they move through the world. Their wisdom is not loud or forceful. It is gentle, woven into the fabric of their daily life. To picture the elves, imagine a forest that feels untouched by time. Lothlorien is one such place. Here, the golden leaves of the Meliorn trees shimmer above, and the air holds a quiet that feels almost sacred. Rivendell, too, is a place of peace, hidden in a valley, filled with the sound of water and the soft glow of starlight. These havens remain beautiful and unspoiled, in part because of the 3 Elven Rings. These rings, unlike the others, were never touched by Sauron's hand. They preserve the forests and valleys from decay, holding back the slow march of time and keeping a sense of hope alive. The magic at work here is subtle, almost invisible, but its effects are everywhere. In the health of the trees, the clarity of the streams, and the gentle harmony of every living thing. The elves' homes blend with nature rather than standing apart from it. Their halls rise among the roots and branches, shaped by careful hands that never force or break. The sound of water, the play of light through leaves, and the soft movement of air all become part of daily life. The elves do not try to conquer the land. Instead, they listen, shaping their lives around what is already there. This way of living grows from a deep respect for the world's beauty and a wish to preserve it for as long as they remain. Despite their immortality, the elves are always aware of the world's changes. They do not fear time, but they notice its passing. Even the oldest trees must lose their leaves, and even the brightest stars will fade. The elves see this and choose to treasure what is fleeting. Their songs are echoes of dawns before the world had ever bent to shadow. Each note carries the memory of what was, the beauty of what is, and the longing for what may never return. In their music and their art, you hear both joy and sorrow, a gentle reminder that nothing lasts forever, and that every moment is precious. Elven craftsmanship is another reflection of their wisdom. They create things of great beauty and skill, but not for show or pride. Instead, each work is a way to honor the world, to capture some small part of its wonder. Galadriel's phial, filled with the light of Arundel's star, is more than a tool. It is a gift meant to guide and comfort, crafted with care and given in hope. The elves understand that beauty can be a source of strength, especially in dark times. The elves' connection to nature is at the heart of their culture. They do not separate themselves from the land or see themselves as above it. Instead, they live in partnership with the forests, rivers, and stars. They taught the Ents to speak, and once sang to the stars before the world was fully formed. This reverence shapes every part of their lives, how they build, how they celebrate, and how they grieve. Their wisdom is rooted in the understanding that all things are connected, and that caring for the world is the same as caring for themselves. Even with all their beauty and skill, the elves carry a sense of sorrow. They have seen ages pass, watched friends and lands fade, and felt the weight of choices that cannot be undone. Their creation of the Rings of Power was meant to preserve what they loved, but it also brought pain and struggle. The rings, untouched by Sauron, held their purity, but the world around them changed. The elves know that nothing they do can last forever. This knowledge brings a quiet sadness, but it also deepens their appreciation for what remains. The elves' role in Middle-earth is often quiet, but important. They do not seek power or control, but their guidance shapes the course of many lives. Elrond's counsel helps bring the fellowship together. Galadriel's gifts give hope and light in the darkest moments. The elves rarely lead armies or claim thrones. Instead, they offer wisdom, support, and a sense of what is possible when beauty and kindness are valued. Their influence is felt in small ways: an encouraging word, a gentle song, a safe place to rest. What sets the elves apart is their ability to find meaning in small, ordinary things. They notice the first flower of spring, the sound of rain on leaves, the shift of light at sunset. Their mindfulness is not forced or practiced. It is simply how they live. They remind us that even in a life that stretches for centuries, the smallest moments can bring the greatest joy. Their appreciation for the present is a lesson in how to slow down, to notice, and to savor what is before us. This way of seeing the world stands in contrast to the hobbits' focus on comfort and routine. Where hobbits find peace in the familiar, the elves find wonder in the fleeting. Both approaches have value. The elves teach that even the most beautiful things will pass, and that there is strength in letting go. They show that wisdom is not just knowledge, but also acceptance of change, of loss, and of the beauty that can be found in every ending. The elves' respect for the natural world shapes how they respond to conflict and change. They do not rush to fight, but when they must, they do so to protect what they love. Their history is filled with both triumph and tragedy, wars fought to defend Middle-earth, and quiet acts of care that preserve its beauty. They have seen the world scarred by evil, yet they continue to hope and to act with kindness. Their endurance is not just physical, but also spiritual, a steady commitment to what matters most. As the ages pass, many elves choose to leave Middle-earth, sailing into the west and leaving their homes behind. This departure is not an escape, but a gentle acceptance that their time has ended. The lands they leave behind still carry their influence in the health of the forests, the memory of their songs, and the wisdom they have shared. Their legacy is not in monuments or power, but in the quiet ways they have shaped the world. For those who listen, the elves offer a lesson in how to live with both hope and humility. They remind us that true wisdom comes from paying attention, from caring deeply, and from finding beauty even in sorrow. Their lives encourage us to look for meaning in what is small and everyday, and to trust that even gentle actions can have lasting effects. In the world of Middle-earth, the presence of the elves is a quiet thread running through every story. Their wisdom, their patience, and their care help to hold things together, even as time moves on. Their way of living, shaped by a long view and a gentle hand, invites you to notice the quiet magic that lingers in the world around you. As you reflect on the gentle strength and mindfulness of the elves, you might start to wonder about the forces that shape peace in Middle-earth. There is a kind of magic here, one that is rarely loud or obvious, but always present, woven into the land and the lives of those who call it home. Magic in Middle-earth shapes the world in ways that are both quiet and profound. It isn't always visible or dramatic, but it influences every part of life, from the smallest seed in the Shire to the darkest corners of Mordor. This magic is not simply a tool for spells or grand displays. It is part of the land, the air, and the choices made by those who live there. The way magic works in Middle-earth is tied to the balance between peace and conflict, creation and destruction. One of the clearest examples of magic's impact is the One Ring. Crafted by Sauron, the ring is more than just an object. It holds a piece of Sauron's own power, designed to dominate and bend others to his will. The ring's influence is heavy and far-reaching. It doesn't just affect the person who carries it. Its corruption spreads outward, touching the world itself. Mordor's blackened wastes mirror how the ring's corruption spreads, something Tolkien himself noted as a warning about unchecked power. The land around Sauron's stronghold becomes twisted and lifeless, a physical sign of what happens when magic is used for control and domination. The ring whispers to its bearer, feeding on fear and weakness, making even the most well-meaning person vulnerable to its pull. This kind of magic is dangerous because it takes away choice. It erodes free will, making it harder for people to resist its demands. Frodo, who carries the ring, feels its weight not just on his body, but in his mind. The ring tries to isolate him, to make him feel alone and desperate. It's a quiet but relentless pressure, always pulling, always tempting. Those who come near it, like Boromir or Gollum, are changed by its presence. Their desires become twisted, and their actions turn towards selfishness and harm. The ring shows how magic, when used for domination, brings suffering and chaos, breaking apart the peace that once existed. Yet not all magic in Middle-earth leads to ruin. There is another side, one that protects, heals, and preserves. The Elven Rings are a clear example of this. Narya, Ninya, and Vilya were created by the elves to safeguard beauty and keep evil at bay. These rings were never touched by Sauron's hand, and so they remain untainted, their power pure. Galadriel's Ninya helps keep Lothlorien safe, allowing it to remain untouched by time and decay. Elrond's Vilya protects Rivendell, making it a place of rest and recovery. These sanctuaries are not loud or flashy in their magic. Instead, they feel calm and safe, offering a sense of hope and harmony. The Elven Rings show that magic can be a force for peace, not by conquering, but by caring for what is good and helping it endure. Magic also lives in the hands and hearts of those who use it wisely. Gandalf is perhaps the best example of this. He is one of the Istari, sent to Middle-earth to help guide its people. Gandalf's magic is not about power for its own sake. He uses it gently, offering light in the darkness and hope in times of fear. When the Fellowship is lost in the deep mines of Moria, Gandalf's staff glows softly, pushing back the shadows just enough for everyone to see. This simple act is more than a spell. It's a reminder that even the smallest light can make a difference. Gandalf's greatest strength is not in force, but in his ability to encourage and inspire others, helping them find courage within themselves. The contrast between Gandalf and Saruman makes this lesson clear. Both are powerful wizards, but they make very different choices. Gandalf uses his gifts to guide and support, never seeking dominion. Saruman, on the other hand, becomes obsessed with power. He wants to rival Sauron, to control and reshape the world according to his own vision. This desire leads him down a path of destruction. He builds armies, destroys forests, and betrays those who trusted him. The difference between them is not just in their abilities, but in how they choose to use them. Gandalf's focus on guidance and humility helps sustain peace, while Saruman's hunger for control brings only ruin. This balance between power and humility is a thread running through all of Tolkien's stories. Magic in Middle-earth always comes with a choice. Will it be used to help and protect, or to dominate and destroy? The One Ring's power is seductive, but it always leads to loss. The Elven Rings, wielded with care and restraint, offer another path, one of preservation and healing. Gandalf's light stands in quiet opposition to Saruman's ambition, showing that true strength lies in knowing when to act and when to hold back. Tolkien's world is shaped by this constant tension. Magic is never just one thing. It can both sustain and disrupt, create and destroy. The effects of magic ripple outward, touching not just individuals, but entire landscapes and communities. Mordor's desolation is a warning about what happens when power is used without thought for others. The peace of Lothlorien and Rivendell is a promise of what is possible when magic is guided by wisdom and care. The lessons of Middle-earth's magic are not just about spells and artifacts. They are about the choices people make every day. The smallest act of kindness, the decision to help rather than harm, the willingness to protect rather than possess. These are all forms of magic in their own way. The world Tolkien imagined is full of wonder, but it is also full of risk. Every person who holds power, no matter how small, faces the same question. Will you use it to build or to break? The story of the One Ring is a warning about the danger of unchecked ambition. It shows how easy it is to be tempted, and how quickly things can fall apart when power becomes the only goal. But the stories of the elves, the wizards, and the people of the Shire offer another message. They remind us that peace is not passive. It takes effort to protect and nurture what is good. Sometimes, the most powerful magic is found in small, everyday acts. A gentle word, a helping hand, a light in the darkness. In Middle-earth, magic shapes the world's fate, but it is never separate from the people who use it. Their intentions, their hopes, and their fears all become part of the magic itself. This makes every choice important. It means that even in a world filled with ancient powers and legendary objects, the most lasting changes come from the quiet strength of ordinary people. As you think about how magic moves through Middle-earth, sometimes creating, sometimes destroying, you might notice how these stories reflect the struggles and hopes we all carry. The world can feel overwhelming at times, filled with forces beyond our control. But there is comfort in remembering that peace is built from many small moments, each one shaped by care and intention. Now, as we turn our attention back to the Shire, let yourself settle into the gentle rhythms that fill its days. The Shire's lessons are not grand or magical in the usual sense, but they offer something just as powerful, a steady reminder of what it means to find peace in the ordinary, to build a life rooted in care, and to let those simple truths guide you wherever you are. When you think about how the Shire lingers in your imagination, it's not just the green hills or the round doors that stand out. It's the feeling of a world that moves at its own gentle pace, a world that seems to invite you in, asking nothing more than that you notice and appreciate the small, steady comforts it offers. The Shire's enduring lessons for modern life are simple but powerful, and they have a way of settling into your thoughts, even long after you've left its story behind. What makes the Shire feel so real, so lasting, is its sense of balance and belonging. It's a place where life unfolds in quiet patterns. Time doesn't rush forward. Instead, meaning is found in small, repeated actions: watering a garden, sharing a meal, tending to the needs of home and neighbor. Tolkien's own love for the English countryside shaped every detail. He drew from the landscapes of his childhood, creating a world where comfort and calm were not only possible, but expected. The Shire is more than nostalgia. It's a gentle response to the noise and pressure of modern life, a reminder of what we risk losing when we forget to slow down. In our own lives, the pace often feels relentless. We sprint through days like arrows. The Shire invites us to walk like hobbits, steady and unhurried. There's always another message, another task, another obligation waiting. It's easy to feel stretched thin, as if there's never enough time for rest or reflection. The Shire offers a different model. Here, meals are not rushed. Gardens are tended with patience. Work is done with care, not just for the sake of finishing, but because the act itself is meaningful. Imagine a hobbit's morning. Sunlight spills across a wooden table. The smell of fresh bread fills the air, and there's time to notice the warmth of the moment before the day moves on. These routines are not just habits, they are the foundation of well-being. The contrast is clear when you look at how we often approach daily life. Many of us eat on the go, check our phones at the table, and measure our days by what gets crossed off a list. The Shire reminds us that there is value in pausing, in letting each moment have its place. Even small changes, a slower breakfast, a few minutes in the garden, a walk without a destination, can help bring back a sense of calm. The routines of hobbit life are not about escaping responsibility, but about finding meaning in the ordinary. They show us that a life built on small, mindful acts can be deeply satisfying. A key part of the Shire's comfort comes from its connection to the land. hobbits live alongside nature, not apart from it. Their homes blend into the hills, their gardens are extensions of their kitchens, and every season brings its own work and reward. This bond with the natural world isn't just practical, it's personal. The earth is a source of stability and peace. Modern research supports what Tolkien seemed to know intuitively: regular routines like gardening, time spent outdoors, and moments of quiet attention help reduce stress and bring a sense of balance. When you kneel in the dirt or watch sunlight move across the grass, your mind slows down. You become present, connected to something larger than yourself. Gardening especially is woven into daily life in the Shire. You might picture Samwise Gamgee, hands in the soil, caring for each new plant as if it were a friend. For hobbits, this is not a chore, but a joy, a way to nurture the world around them and to create beauty. The act of tending a garden, watching something grow, and taking pride in the result is a lesson in patience and mindfulness. It's a reminder that small, steady care can lead to lasting comfort. Even if you don't have a patch of earth, the principle remains. Caring for something, however simple, can bring a sense of calm and purpose. Community is another thread that runs through every part of hobbit life. The Shire is not a place of isolation. Neighbors share what they have, gather for meals, and take time to listen to each other's stories. Hospitality is a daily practice, not a special event. Think of Bilbo's birthday party, tables filled with food, laughter echoing under lantern light, and everyone feeling welcome. These moments show how joy grows when it's shared, and how belonging is built from many small acts of kindness. In modern life, connection often feels hurried or fragmented. Social time is squeezed between other demands, and real conversations can be hard to find. The Shire reminds us that making space for others through a shared meal, a friendly greeting, or a simple act of help builds a foundation of comfort and resilience. Tolkien's affection for the Shire was rooted in his own experience. He found peace in the countryside, and he wanted to share that sense of refuge with others. The Shire is his tribute to the places and moments that shaped him, a way to hold on to what mattered most. He set the Shire at the latitude of Oxford, grounding it in a familiar landscape that many readers could imagine. This connection to real places gives the Shire its weight. It is not just a fantasy, but a reflection of what is possible when we choose to value the simple and the steady. The lessons of the Shire are not about seeking perfection or escaping the world's challenges. Hobbits face struggles, disagreements, and moments of fear, just like anyone else. But their lives are anchored by habits that bring them back to what matters: routine, care for the land, and the support of community. You don't need to live in a storybook village to find this kind of comfort. You can start with small routines: a morning walk, a quiet meal, or a moment spent tending to something you care about. These acts build resilience, grounding you when life feels uncertain. The Shire also teaches that it's okay to move slowly. There is no need to rush from one thing to the next. When you allow yourself to linger, to notice the details of your day, you create space for calm to grow. This might mean stepping outside for a few minutes, listening to the sounds around you, or simply sitting quietly with a warm drink. These moments are not wasted. They are the building blocks of a peaceful life. You might find that the more you look for these small comforts, the more you notice them. The sound of birds in the morning, the feel of sunlight on your skin, the quiet satisfaction of finishing a simple task. Each is a reminder that peace is made, not found. The Shire's example is not about grand gestures, but about the steady, gentle work of caring for yourself and those around you. As you think about your own routines, consider what you can borrow from the Shire. Maybe it's making breakfast without distractions, sharing a meal with someone you care about, or planting something and watching it grow. Even a short walk, taken slowly, can help you reconnect with the world and yourself. The value lies in the act itself, not in how much you accomplish. Research shows that these habits, routine, connection to nature, and mindful attention help reduce stress and support well-being. The Hobbit's way of life, though simple, offers a practical guide for finding balance in a busy world. You don't need rolling hills or round doors to feel a sense of belonging. You can start with what you have, right where you are. Let the Shire's lessons settle in. Notice how they change the way you move through your day. Try to carry a bit of its calm with you, even when life feels noisy or rushed. The Shire isn't a place you visit only in stories. It's an approach to living, one that values patience, care, and the gentle rhythms that bring comfort. Tonight, try one Hobbit habit, slow breakfast or a simple walk, and feel the difference. Let yourself find ease in the ordinary, and see how even the smallest change can bring a sense of peace. As you rest with these thoughts, let them lead you toward a quieter, more settled state of mind. The Shire's enduring lessons are always within reach, waiting to shape the way you experience each day. As you settle in for the night, remember that the spirit of the Shire is found in the smallest moments: a shared meal, a quiet walk, or the gentle rhythm of a simple routine. Calm isn't something that arrives all at once. It's built, Hobbit style, one small ritual at a time. The comfort and connection you seek can grow from these steady habits, offering a sense of belonging and ease in your own life. If you could pick one Hobbit habit to try tonight, what would it be? Let us know in the comments. Wishing you a restful night and a peaceful tomorrow.